Okay, on today's Pythagorean Discovery Activity, you're going to need the instructions, a piece of colored paper which we'll be gluing on later, a piece of graph paper, a pencil, straight edge, glue stick, and scissors. So let's clear off what we don't need for now, and we'll get back to it. But on our assignment, it says on your graph paper, make a right triangle with one leg of 6 units long and the other leg 8 units long. Okay, so let's just start up as high as we can up here in the corner and count down 6. So there's the top, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it said the other leg would be 8 units long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. It said a right triangle, so here is our right angle. Let's go ahead and draw those legs in. Be sure to use your straight edge on this because we want to make this as neat as possible, because you may be hanging out in the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Shame, whichever it might be. So let's go ahead and get this line drawn on there. Okay. And then it said to connect those two sides to make the third side, which is called the hypotenuse. Okay. So here's our triangle. Okay. And it says on your assignment, it says, how would you describe a hypotenuse? Well, again, this side here is the hypotenuse, and what do you notice about it? Yeah, it's the longest side of the right triangle, the hypotenuse. And as far as the right triangle, here's where that right angle is, right here in this corner. Okay? The next thing it said to do was to cut out our triangle. So that's what we needed our scissors for. We're going to try to cut this as neatly as possible and try to stay on our line. And when we get this cut out, so carefully as possible. Okay, set that aside. So here's our right triangle. Okay. It says on your graph paper, make a square where the sides are the same length as the shorter leg. Well, our shorter leg, when we made it, was 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need to make a square that is 6 units by 6 units. So I'm trying to be as thrifty as I can on my graph paper. So here's our starting point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need to go over 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we have our points that we can just connect and make that square. Again, use your straight edge, make as neat a lines as possible. Neatness is going to count on this. If it is going to end up looking like anything we're proud of. So here we go, and we've got, there's our square. Okay. And then it asks us, what is the area of our square? Well, as we've been working with squares and square roots, and we know that it's called a square. When we square a number, it's the side times side. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means we have an area of 36 units squared. All right. The next thing it asks us to do is to make a second square where the sides are the same length as the larger leg. Well, our larger leg was 8 units long. So let's go ahead and count from here, count down 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And count over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to go ahead and draw that in. So again, our straight edge. Okay, and we need to find the area of that. Well, remember on the first square, we multiplied the side length times the side length. These have side lengths of 8 units, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, 8 times 8 is 64, so this one has 64 units squared. Okay, so now it says to cut each square out and write the square inside of them. Well, we've already got the squares drawn. So let's go ahead and the area. So let's go ahead and cut these two out and set them aside until we need them again. So now be sure to pick up your scraps as they fall. Let's try to keep the classroom as neat as possible. So there's the longer side, longer leg, and here is the shorter leg. So let's get that cut out. Okay, almost there. So now we've got our two squares, one that has is long as the shorter leg. This one has the side lengths of the longer leg of our triangle. So I'm just going to set those aside for now, and it asks us now, we're going to go back and use our triangle, and my triangle's slid away, and it says to use the graph paper to measure the length of the hypotenuse. So what it's asking us to do is to put one corner of the hypotenuse there and the other there, and we're going to measure that. And it looks to me like it goes from this point to this point. Okay. Now we're going to make a square that has the dimensions of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to make a 10 by 10 square. So we've already got the first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's just come down this line until we get to 10. All right. Let's use our straight edge to draw that in. And I know you guys are already thinking, oh, we're going to need to know the area of this square too. So, have you got it figured out? What is the area of a square that has a side that is 10 units long? Absolutely. 100 units squared. We're just using units because, you know, usually we would have a tag on it like feet squared, meter squared, something like that. But we're just using units to represent each one of the length of each one of these boxes, small grids. So let's go ahead and cut this out, and then we'll put our area inside of it. So trying to stay neat here. Don't know how neat it is, but hope I don't lose a piece. Okay. Now, the next thing it's asking us to do, we're going to write, what did we say that was? 100 units squared? Okay, 100 units squared. Okay, and then it says, we've already got the area. Okay, and it says it wants to know, first, the next thing it wants to know is what is the sum of the two smaller squares? Well, 36 plus 64 is equal to 100. And our larger square is 100. Well, now comes our colored paper. let's go ahead and put that down, and let's look at our triangle. Now remember, this is a right triangle, and it has side lengths of 6, 8, and we decided that the hypotenuse of 10. So let's go ahead and put these squares together and see what happens. There's that one matches up with that side, and it's 36 units, it's 6 by 6. This one matches up with the longer leg, which is 8 units, so it's 8 times 8, which is 64. And now our larger one, okay, matches up with the hypotenuse. And guys, believe it or not, you know, this is how old Pythagoras came up with his theorem, part of it. He discovered this relationship, that if you square the lengths of the two legs, it would be equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Now, I'm going to give you guys a minute to get that glued down in place, and we'll go on to part 2. All right, very good.